right. Well, welcome to the Safeonomics podcast. I'm Scott Cuthbert, co-founder of Safeopedia, and very excited for my guest today, Sergio Valencia Krauss. He's CEO and founder of SVK Consulting. And Sergio and I met at the Safety on the Edge conference earlier this year. Feels like it was last year, but it was earlier this year.
In
And
March.
in March, yeah. So super excited to have him on the podcast. Sergio, why don't you take a quick second and introduce yourself to the listeners?
Okay, thank you very much for this moment for sharing with you. My name is Sergio Valencia Krauss. As you mentioned it, CEO and founder of SVK Consulting. I am author of two books. One of them, Become an EH Excellence Manager, and the Nose That Makes Your Way. And I'm teacher in different universities in Latin America, and I'm a speaker in different events related to safety. My background is I am chemical engineer and have a post graduation in a master of quality management, human resources, and I'm from Peru, but I'm living almost 7 years ago in Mexico, specifically in Jalisco state.
Cool. It's a great background, diverse. We were just chatting about Malcolm Staves, another chemical engineer, by trade. I think there's a number of practicing safety professionals, safety leaders that started out in the engineering profession and transitioned over. So that's an interesting background.
Sometimes we bring the problem, so we need to bring the solutions too.
Right. Excuse me. So yeah, you have over 20 years experience in EHS management, moving from major corporations, major corporate roles, sorry, at companies like is it Teva or Teva?
Teva Pharmaceuticals.
Yeah, and and then all the way to founding your own consulting firm. What inspired you to make the transition from employee to CEO and owner of your own consulting firm?
First of all, it's not an easy decision because I was looking for this opportunity in my 50s, maybe. Same with for writing my first book. Uh, same thing with teaching in different universities. However, these opportunities came for me before. Uh, when I was in a corporate position, leading the Latin region in this last company that you mentioned, with almost 9 years, I wrote my first book, Become an Excellence Manager, because I felt that I need to leave a legacy for other ones, young people who come after us because of the chronology, But this important decision needs to you need to have resilience because at the beginning it's not easy like the social media or people think, because you need to build and develop your own portfolio, your market, and you need to know different people in order to connect and try to bring the opportunity to know your skills, to know the value that you can give for the companies. So it's not an easy decision, especially for my family, because we went from Peru and we were placed in a different country, knowing new people around. And one of the main things that we need to consider is to build networking, as is very mentioned in the last Safety on the Edge conference. The networking is a powerful tool that you can use for connecting different people, and is like a bridge between you and the companies and also people. Is one of my main purposes to help people, giving the support of the companies and people within them, in order to build a sustainable future for us.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love the bridge analogy, and I think that was, a major theme at the Safety on the Edge conference, and is becoming more and more of a theme, within the safety profession. So you mentioned your book, Becoming an Occupational Health and Safety Excellence Manager. Um, it's an international bestseller. Congratulations on that. And then,
Thank
yeah, there it is. We'll definitely include some links for people to look it up and buy it, ideally. But what was the central problem you saw in the industry that made you decide that you needed to write this book?
Well, really, it's not an invasion of myself. I asked it to almost 100 people, 100 professionals around the world. What is the main pain? What is the main challenge that you are facing in your company related to safety? So there was a list of almost 30 pains. So I chose 10, the main 10 of this list, and we developed that book. Because at the beginning, I didn't know what could be the containers of the, the description or the topic of this book. But there are two things that happened. The first one is that I found an older mentor that I had, and he asked me that we can develop a book, can write a book related to my my specialty, and the second one is the opportunity that all the safety community has related to the main challenges that they are facing, because it's important to have the experience of the shop floor field, but also the communication or the interaction that you can have with some colleagues. So in my background, I worked in Peru, in Mexico. I was almost 3 months in Irvine, California. Also, I was almost 1 year in Chile, and also appointed as a LATAM region position in EHS. So it was a great opportunity for me for knowing what's going on around. So the main 10 pains are referred to leadership, culture, sustainability, competencies, communication, being a strategic, developing a baseline, the conviction over the mandatory things that we need to have, etc. So we in this way, this is a great motivation, because at the end we are trying to solving different problems that we already have and we still have. So in the meantime, I met a reference person in safety by Malcolm Staves. And Malcolm, I remember he wrote the foreword of this book, despite that he didn't speak Spanish. But the most interesting thing is that LinkedIn could connect us, and we share some information, especially relevant to 1% safety, safer book.
Right.
1% safer was the motivation of us for discussing different things. And I was trying to invite him for this project. And after a few days, he accepted, and we could share some thoughts related to safety, to culture, leadership. And at the end, I did the extended this invitation for him, and he accepted. And almost 4 years, 4 years after, I met him in the Safety on the Edge event in
Yeah.
Berkeley. So it was a great experience. It's a great journey, because in the meantime, I didn't develop this book by my own. Also, I was supported, considering 1% safer book. That book brought some collaboration, almost I think 140. And well, I was thinking I'm not the expert of every topics, so I could invite some experts. And six from seven collaborators in this book uh, are not related to safety because
Yeah.
we need to see the perspective from the organization, how the OSH manager and the OSH management are seen from that standpoint, you know.
Right.
So in this way, I consider that it was a good point for the book because we need to check maybe the perception of the OSH managers could be blind in some way, considering
Right.
that we need to talk not just about safety, we need to talk about the business. The business
Right.
language is relevant for uh, for understanding how we can solve the challenges that we are facing.
Yeah. So the book, the subtitle mentions 10 high impact solutions. Can you give us a preview of two or three of those solutions, or one or two of those solutions that you believe are the most critical for sustainable companies today?
For sure, I will mention the list. First, leadership, all about safety, right? So leadership and commitment, conviction over mandatory things,
Mhm.
strategic planning, baseline, competencies, communication, cost benefit, KPIs and target, culture, and uh, sustainability. I think I will mention two, but I would like to mention in sustainability that it's very common to relate sustainability more with environment affairs. But
Right.
really, we need to consider the social and economic aspects in safety. So in this way, the development, sustainable development goals are related uh, to work and employees and health as well. The is the G's 3 and 8. But I would like to mention the main two, the most bold paint. The first one was the leadership. I am a believer, a strong believer, that leadership could take organizations to other level. I mean, if you consider that that the leader could be prepared and also could be guided in the organization, could take that different considering different situations, of course, because there's not a good or wrong way of leadership. It's about the situation that they are facing. So in this way, I would like to mention in leadership that there are three characteristics that we should consider. The first one is that the leader should inspire trust. So and we should consider in the inspiration of trust, four elements. First one is the reliability, the sincerity, the competence, and involvement. The second one is to hear people or listening to people with being humble and being curious. And the third one is practice the training responsibility from delegation. That means to trust in people because you can work by your own as a silo always. You need to prepare people because the leader is the leader who develop leaders who develop leaders. So it's
Right.
a great concept in this way, right?
Right.
And the second one that I like is the communication that we should develop. In fact, there's no leader there's no great leader that has a bad communication. And so
Right.
you need to develop communication because it's the link between you and the people and knowing and be the opportunity for being aligned to have the expectations very clear And in this way, the International Standard Organization, 45001, explained that we need to consider what we are communicating, how we can communicate, who communicate, and what is the scope of the people that you need to deliver your message, and when you communicate. So you need to develop the communication in order to reach your target, as well as to build a strong culture in the organizations around.
Yeah. Yeah. I couldn't agree more on the communication side, how important it is, and I've been part of so many organizations, and there's only a handful of them that really get communication right. It's not easy, but keeping the team and the organization and different departments and everybody in line and in sync is a challenge, and I think it needs a lot of focus and emphasis, like you're saying.
You need to keep practice also.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
it's like everything that you are doing, you need practice. It's like language speaking. If you don't practice, you forget it. So it's the same with the communication leadership, because it's not in one day. Okay, I participate yesterday in a 8 hours workshop, so I'm ready for communication. No, you already know the tools and some skills that you should develop. But in the meantime, in months, maybe years, you can develop this skill as an expert. It's up to you. It's the same that happened with me when I audited. I remember my first report was terrible 15 years ago. Now, with more than 230 working hours auditing, so it's much different. It's the same with other skills.
Right. Yeah. Well, and you touched on mentorship. You're a strong advocate of mentorship in safety leadership. In your view, what's the biggest mistake companies make when trying to develop their next generation of safety leaders?
So one of the things that we have some challenges, because there's a confusion between mentorship and coaching. Coaching could be developed by a person who is expert in a methodology coach. But the mentor is the person who could give you wisdom, could give you experience, knowledge, and your learning curve could be reduced in order to support in a long term. So coaching is more for specific things that or skills that you need to develop in order to solve specific problems. So one of the biggest mistakes, as you mentioned it, is the lack of time and availability. Something happens that we don't have enough time, but this is true. You, me, and everyone has 24 hours. So we need to organize in a better way. This is one of the things that the mentorship should start. There's no trust, a connection in the results that the program could give you. Also the difficulty of selecting qualified mentors, because there are many people who mention it in social media that they are reference, they are leaders, they are mentors. This is horrible, because the self appointment is not part of the values that we need to share. And the
Yeah,
people, the people validate you, not you, not for yourself. No.
right.
So the lack of clear targets or defined targets, because okay, the mentorship is good, that's great. So what do you need really? Where you need to go? So you need to define your vision and your pathway. So the mentor could help you in order to find it. But one of the things is, why are you taking the mentorship, right? The follow-up of the results also, because it's like a workshop, as I mentioned it before. If you use your workshop, your communication or leadership workshop as a presentation that you are prepared, it's not. You need to follow up. What about the outcome or the result that you have after this program? Also, the gaps in terms of experience or knowledge between the participants, because for example, I received mentees with 3 or 5 years of experience, as well as people with more than 20 years of experience as me. So you need to calibrate the message as well as the expectation that they have. And the lack of vision also. There's three types of people. People that has a very clear vision, people that who are searching for that vision, and people who already knows already is not prepared are not prepared for knowing what is the vision, because it depends on the personal maturity that they have. So we need to, in my recommendation in this way, is to have a pre-survey before the entrance of the program, because maybe they don't need a mentorship program, maybe they need a tip only, or maybe is another way that they need to follow, because at the end the mentee and the mentor should be connected naturally, so it
Right.
shouldn't be forced or similar.
Right. I want to come back to sustainability because it's kind of become a bit of a divisive word, in the last few years, and I think not everybody's taking kind of a holistic view of safety, or sustainability rather. But you talk about business sustainability and in the relationship with EHS. So how do you convince leadership that is focused on short-term profits to invest in those long-term sustainable safety culture and work, sustainable work activities?
Well, EHS or safety are we are seeing an evolution in the EHS and safety concept, right? So we need to consider that there's no one priority over other ones. For example, safety is the most important thing. Safety first. Okay. Maybe it's not true, because at the end we are talking about business that business about profit, and we are talking about companies with a main core business, not about safety, about sustainability. However, we are not talking about safety first or production first. We need to talk. Also, our language should be the most important thing is the safer production, is a sustainable business, and how we can sustain it by safety. Because this is one of the things that I would like to mention about the OSH managers or safety managers. They are almost always thinking about the regulation, avoiding accidents, avoiding penalties or fines for OSHA or any similar agency around the world. So this is the first step. The next one is to support the business for more for being profitable. So how? Okay, if you join the business, one specific example, we're talking about a new project. We need to develop a new line in the production. Okay, so we need to consider safety by design. We need to consider some aspects related to safety before the investment. We could mention different parts, different stages in the CapEx. So at the end, if those considerations were those aspects were considered. So it's not a spend of money after, because at the end you need to develop a refurbishment or a correction, you know. But there's one important thing here, because it's a little bit different, the mindset in Europe and Western Europe and in US and Canada and Latin America. I will talk about the Latin American perspective, because when we invest, if we are, we could consider some things, but maybe it's very expensive. So let's see later, right? Those aspects. But what happened is much better to consider at the beginning than after. So you need to consider some finance concepts in the way. Another thing, if you support the production, projects, operations in general, you can take some critical parts, and you can solve the problems in order to get a fluent production, no absence, improving the efficiencies with some measures, because unfortunately we are known we as OSH managers are considered as stoppers. So we shouldn't be stoppers. If we stop a line or stop the facility, it's like a divorce. It's like you didn't all the things that you needed to do before. So if you reach that critical point, it's because the company as well as the OSH manager didn't nothing, almost nothing, right? So this is a relevant thing. In this way, the sustainability is a big concept that and there's a small part related to safety with the OSH programs, audits, as well as joining the company as a link between the silos. Because fortunately, we are transversal in the company. So we need to be prepared in this way. It's part of the capacities that we need to develop as a professionals.
Yeah, it's a great approach, I think, to sustainability. As a chemical engineer, we touched on this in the beginning, but how does your technical background influence your approach to human-centric aspects of safety culture and leadership?
It's a wide variety about my background, because I started as chemical engineer. This one is interesting thing. I would like to mention an interview that I had with Megan Tranter. She asked me, what about Sergio Valencia in the next 20 years? I say, well, I really don't know, because 21 years ago, I was a chemical engineer student, and I moved it to the safety affairs. And then in the next 20 years, maybe I change it, or I will go for other aspects related to human being, or maybe related to the purpose of the people, as Megan are doing, right? But it's a little bit a coincidence in this way. But I started as a chemical engineer professional, and I was hired by a chemical company, and I started as a production assistant. And that position was in charge of EHS affairs. So I found in 2005, I found many opportunities around safety and health at work. And also it was related to people. That's the reason why my post-graduation is related to human management, because at the end we could we can develop our background as leaders in an area, in a company. And we need to, and when we are talking about safety, we are talking about people. This is the truth. So I had many opportunities around safety, not just the regulation. Also, I remember the EHS aspects 20 years ago, and we developed some technical aspects related to safety also, but at the end is the people. If you work with and for the people, you can get better results. So it's not just an impact in the workplace environment, also in the travel between the work and home. At home also with their family. I remember one experience that we shared in the first aid brigade was trained, and one woman saved her brother with a fishbone in the throat. So she applied the Heimlich. How you say Heimlich, right?
Heinrich?
The Heimlich that you
yeah.
push in the stomach. Yes.
Yeah.
So he saved her brother, and her brother had 4 children. So could you imagine the impact in it? Also in the book, I mentioned it. I could save the life of a woman, an only child in her family, of 26 years old, thanks for putting the seatbelt in the back of the car. So now, almost I think 9 years after, she had two children. So could you imagine the impact that you could have if you apply with passion, safety, and it could be contagious, not just for your area, your company, also for all the people in your region, around the world. That's the main message that could inspire us to be the things in a safer way. That's the reason why we should go with the message and actions in people and also in the organizations, people within them, of course.
Yeah. Well, and speaking of your passion and your commitment to EHS, you've won multiple awards for EHS performance. What was one particular advice that you would give to a new EHS manager who feels overwhelmed, is struggling to make an impact within their organization?
Yeah, thanks for that mention, because I I didn't reach them or obtain them by my own. Also, I work with great teams in different companies. I worked with outstanding leaders in my previous experience. But one of the things that we should consider that those awards are the result of the strong work that we performed before. So the award is the result, but safety work is like writing in the snow. Permanently. You need to keep the passion, and also to share this passion with other people. So we are not focused in the words. We are focused in the people. So as a result, you could receive those awards.
Yeah, interesting that. So looking forward, what do you see as the single biggest challenge or trend that will redefine the field of occupational health and safety in the next 5 or so years?
Well, it's a big horizon because in the next year there will be a lot of changes. Scott, that there are many changes around. But from a standpoint, I think we need to work about ourselves. If we need to change other ones, we need to work in ourselves first. We need to develop self-assessment. What are the main gaps that we need to cover? In this way, we need to work in the main 10 top skills that mentioned in the World Economic Forum, for example. 2 of them are related to technology. 5 of them are related to analysis. So that we need to develop the thinking skills. I'm a believer of the thinking skill. It's like our brain is like a muscle. We need to train a lot about it. If we are not reading by ourselves, we are duplicating the message that the other people are talking. Not could be good if the other are reading. No, the other could repeat. So there are many people that are talking things with could be a stunning view in social media, but the containment, the source, the main source, you need to consider. We need to be careful that what are the reference for us. Why? Because if you are if you join a group of 5 people with reading skills, you will be the sixth one. If you are joining a group of 5 people with procrastination, you will be the sixth one. So it's important to join people who share your values, who share the things that you need to improve. You need to consider what is your reference. So in this way, tell me your reference person, and I will tell you what you are.
Right. Great. Well, it's been a pleasure to talk with you today. You again, we met at the Safety on the Edge conference. I know you spoke at their virtual event, and I'm sure we'll see you at future Safety on the Edge and Safety Connect
Of course,
events.
we will see in Baltimore next year.
Yeah, that's right. Baltimore, May 2026. So definitely looking forward to that. Again, Sergio has a podcast, 26 episodes, I think, right? And
Yes.
yeah,
It's called Safely You Create Value. In Spanish, is Seguro Creas Valor. We invited different directors and safety managers, professionals, which share different topics. For example, ergonomics 4.0. We talk about behavior based on safety, leadership, commitment. We share about the high risk activities and many topics. Also, the internationalization of the safety career. Many guest people from different countries: Spain, Colombia, Brazil, and Peru, Argentina, Ecuador, Mexico, and we will have UK people at the end of the year. It's a big surprise,
right.
but will be very relevant for us. I remember the way or the starting of this podcast in July last year, and I started with 1.2 episodes, and now it's 2028. The next week will be the 29th. So
Right.
I'm very happy because it's part of the sharing that I was talking with you.
Yeah, so definitely look up Sergio's podcast. The book will have a reference to the book in the description below. But again, thank you so much for taking your time to come and join me today, share your experience and your leadership with our audience.
Thank you very much, Scott and Safeopedia, for this invitation. So I feel happy for when I share some things that I know. I'm happy sharing the things that I know, that I experienced it. And one of the things that I love is to connect with other ones. So if you want to connect with me, I will be happy for it. So it's a message that my friend Malcolm Staves said, being the hummingbird.
That's right. Great. Well, thank you so much, and looking forward to our future conversations.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Take care.